Let's begin by telling you that former Kogi State Governor Yahaya Bello is currently in detention at the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission's Abuja facilities and is due to appear in court today, Wednesday 27, 2024. He faces charges of alleged 110 billion naira fraud and will be arraigned in court. Bello has been under investigation since April for financial mismanagement during his tenure. Despite previous attempts to arrest and arraign him, he had evaded capture until now. His surrender marks a significant development in the case. The FCC had declared him wanted in April and then attempted to arrest him at his residence, but was thwarted by his successor, Governor Usman Ododo. Bello's case has been ongoing, with charges initially filed against him and later reduced to 16 counts. His arraignment is highly anticipated. Away from that story, now let's head to the energy sector. After several postponements, the Port Harcourt refinery has finally commenced fuel production. The Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, confirmed this on its X handle on Tuesday. Our correspondent Bernard Akede gives us a brief history of the refinery. Take a look.
The Port Harcourt Refinery Company is a subsidiary of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation Limited, NNPCL. Located in Alessa, Eleme, just to the southeast of Port Harcourt, the company operates 2 oil refineries, including an old plant commissioned in 1965 that can process 60,000 barrels per stream day, as well as a new plant commissioned in 1989, which has a capacity of 150,000 barrels per stream day. Both oil refineries possess a combined capacity of 210,000 barrels per stream day. Sadly, the refinery in Port Harcourt, along with other state-owned refineries in the country, has only utilized a fraction of its capacity in recent decades due to inefficient processes and lack of maintenance. This has led to Nigeria, Africa's largest crude oil producer, becoming increasingly reliant on imports of refined petroleum products. In March 2021, the Nigerian government approved expenditure of $1.5 billion for the refurbishment and modernization of the refinery complex in Port Harcourt. The main contract for the modernization for the refinery was also awarded in the same month. The renovation project for the refinery in Port Harcourt, which will be carried out in 3 phases, is scheduled for completion by 2025. After several postponements, the Port Harcourt refinery has finally commenced fuel production.
It's very important to know that you can't do this without leadership support and encouragement. And with that combination, this plan has come live today. It's going to solve some of the energy security issues in our country, and we are very proud that this has been done, and it's really a very fulfilling moment, this moment for everyone working in NNPC, and also to our shareholders, that we have delivered value to our shareholders, and this is what they expect from us.
In an update on X, the NNPCL said NNPC Limited delivers Port Harcourt refinery as plant begins truck out of products Tuesday, 26 November 2024 at 1:45 p.m.
Last week, you can see the price coming down. Partly is because there is ample availability of products because marketers, because of removal of subsidy by Mr. President, which has been done well last year, but again, the adjustment to reflect the actual price have made other marketers to import, so there's more choice, more availability.
The refinery will start with 60,000 barrels capacity per day, releasing premium motor spirit, diesel, and others into the Nigerian market.
For today, on the port of NNPC, the price still remains 1,045 naira. But the challenge we are having, and the GND has promised to do something about it as it concerns the selling rate of Dangote. Dangote is selling 917 naira per liter, while NNPC is still selling to us 1,045 naira. A difference of variation of 75 naira per liter. And you know, a businessman appreciates 1 kobo as a discount, so there's no business. So hence, the troop in and the rush and the high traffic that we should be occasion arising from today is a bit less, but I think going forward, NNPC will review its price going forward.
The Port Harcourt refinery would be the second petrol-producing refinery after the Dangote refinery commenced PMS production in September. Before now, promises made to Nigerians by the Federal Ministry of Petroleum Resources and the NNPCL about the refinery failed 7 times. The hope is that with this refinery now up and running alongside the Dangote refinery, issues concerning fuel scarcity and price hikes could soon become a thing of the past, not forgetting the other two state-owned refineries in Warri and Kaduna. In Lagos for News Central, I'm Bernard Akede.
In the meantime, President Bola Tinubu has congratulated the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited on the successful revitalization of the Port Harcourt refinery. Tinubu also urged NNPC Limited to expedite the scheduled reactivation of the second Port Harcourt refinery and the Warri and Kaduna refineries. This is according to a press release by the Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, on Tuesday, made available to journalists in Abuja. Meanwhile, NNPCL has responded to misleading claims circulated in certain quarters which allege that the refinery is not producing products. The NNPC said the old Port Harcourt refinery is currently running at 70% of its installed capacity, with plans to ramp up to 90%. Joining me now to discuss this development is Suraj Oyewale, Chartered Accountant and Director, Fortrus Consulting. Good morning and thanks for joining me here. All right. What are the broader economic implications of the successful operation of the Port Harcourt refinery for Nigeria's oil and gas sector?
For having me, Joe, and happy to come and discuss oil and gas matter on your station again. When the government finishes a project of that scale, I think it's something that deserves some commendation because oil supply is very, very critical to energy security in any nation. A lot of things depend on, on the fuel we all use, whether for our daily activities, whether for transportation, whether for powering of our equipment, or even for, whether at small scale, whether at large scale. So definitely anything that adds to Nigeria's energy supply is something that should be applauded. Okay. This refinery that has been put back to work is the oldest of the 4 refineries we have in Nigeria, the first and the oldest, being the refinery that was commissioned far back to 1965, even though there has been a lot of upgrades and repair work in the past. And I think government deserves some commendation for this, even though it's the smallest of all the 4 refineries, being the one that produces only 60,000, that processes only 60,000 barrels of oil per day compared to the other ones in, let's say, the bigger one in Port Harcourt that is meant to process 150,000 barrels of oil per day. So I think we have to start from somewhere. For a very long time, we've not had all these refineries working, despite the fact that people who are meant to be managing the refineries continue to earn salaries, but now we have something to start with. So I think it's a good place to start. It's something that should be commended, and let's give them the benefit of the doubt. A lot of Nigerians are skeptical about all of this, but I believe that let's see what the government wants to do, and let's see if. And I believe that even though this one is meant to current production, they said it's going to produce 1.4 million liters of PMS per day, 900,000 liters of kerosene, and about 1.5 million liters of EGO, which is diesel. I will give them benefit of the doubt. These are small numbers compared to our need as a nation, but if we compare this with what we have, with the situation of having zero production from government, zero product from government, I think it's somewhere to start.
All right, Mr. Oyewale, I know one of the very, very big question every single Nigerian is asking is, are we going to see a decline in the price of premium motor spirit now that we have 2 major refineries in one country, and hopefully the others wouldn't take time to equally come upstream? But are we going to see a reduction in the prices of premium motor spirits, especially at the filling stations?
Okay, no one can guarantee that because the dynamics are more than, just sitting down and making some postulations about, how things to work in theory. In economics, generally, when there is more supply, there is meant to be reduction in prices. So that is the natural thing that is expected to happen in standard economic theory. And so I would expect that to happen as well, because I mean, this refining, this newly refurbished refinery is going to pump in 1.4 million liters of PMS back into the nation's supply. And I believe that everything is going to be domestically, supplied to the domestic market. So I would want to believe that government would also, this will transform to a reduction in the prices of PMS. I mean, we saw one of the marketers complaining that Dangote currently says at 170 naira per liter for PMS. That's the price at the wholesale level. Then at the retail level, it's going to be a little bit higher than that when we consider the margin of the marketers. But that stands at more than 1,000 naira per liter. At NNPC portal. So we expect NNPC to also reduce this now, because this is something that also the overarching NNPC, even though it has been commercialized, okay, is still the representative of Nigerian government in oil and gas industry. So their principal mandate, apart from the commercial, is to ensure that there is availability and affordability of energy in the country. So I would want to believe that with the new supply injection to the system, there should be a reduction in prices. Maybe not so significant, but I expect there to be some sort of reduction.
All right. With the Dangote refinery also starting production, which of course Nigerians are starting to benefit from, and other countries outside of Nigeria, how do you see the competitive dynamics in Nigeria's domestic fuel market evolving in the near future?
Okay, I think it's good news that we have two refineries up and running at the moment. The Dangote refinery, which has a capacity of 650,000 barrels of oil refining per day, and we have this refinery of this smallest refinery of NNPC that produces, that is meant to process 6,000 barrels of oil per day. Currently produces 70,000 capacity according to the sources within NNPC, which is about 42,000. Ability to produce 42,000 of such of the 60,000 capacity. So we have a number. They have also promised that the bigger refinery, which processes 150,000 barrels of oil per day, the bigger one in Kaduna and the one in Warri are also going to come on stream quite anytime from now. And we also have a situation in which you have other refineries that are also currently under construction. We have the Bua refinery in Akwa Ibom State by Abdulsamad Rabiu and his Bua group. So these are good news for our downstream sector, because when all of this come on stream, we expect to see more competitive supply. And the general principle of economics is that when we have good supply, when we have good competition, then generally prices will go down. So I want to believe that it's good news that all these refineries are coming on stream. Each of them has restarted production, and at the end of the day, maybe it might not be immediate, because we're talking about the 6,000 refinery capacity refinery being started again. The bigger ones, they have also promised to, that they're going to come on board anytime from now. So I would expect all of this to translate to reduction in prices and availability of supply, and less exposure to FX. Of course, we still have exposure to the foreign exchange, because the crude, which is the main feedstock of all of these products, is still traded in international market. It's still traded in dollar. So we're still going to be exposed to the the FX component of all of these. But overall, competition will bring down the prices, no matter how insignificant in the short term.
I'm sure every Nigerian is looking forward to hear that the price has indeed dropped. Thank you so much, Suraj Oyewale, for joining us, Chartered Accountant and Director, Fortrose Consulting. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, Joe.
Away from that, the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has once again tightened monetary policy, raising the monetary policy rate, MPR, by 25 basis points. This move, aimed at curbing inflation, has raised concerns among economists and analysts like Femi Egbesola, who warns a potential negative impact on businesses and the economy. New Central's business correspondent Perpetua Fasami Peter has more.
Raise the MPR by 25 basis points to 27.50% from 27.25%.
Although the CBN's decision to raise interest rates was anticipated due to rising inflation, businesses and analysts remain worried about the potential negative impact on economic growth.
It's not going to curb inflation because inflation is not only demand pull. It's not because there's a lot of money pursuing too few goods. That's not the major driver of inflation. It's a problem.
The electricity hike, fuel hike, and all of that. All of these are pushing businesses to the edge all at the same time. And even the banks are now advanced to picking up money to be reset.
While the CBN governor highlighted positive economic indicators like significant accretion to the foreign exchange reserve and GDP growth, analysts argue that these gains must be sustained and inclusive, stressing the need for policies that directly impact the real sector and improve the livelihoods of everyday Nigerians.
Disaggregate the GDP numbers. You will see very interesting trends. Where my colleague, for example, operates in the small business owners, the manufacturing sector, people that produce personal care products, consumables, food, beverages, and all that, they're either shrinking or they're not growing, they're flat.
The CBN has now hiked rates 6 times since February 2024, totaling 875 basis points, bringing the MPR to 27.5%. In Lagos, for News Central, I am Perpetua Fasomi Peter.
The Vice President is in the news. Vice President Kashim Shettima canvasses tech-driven strategy to combat terrorism. That story will be here after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back. President Bola Tinubu will depart Abuja for France on Wednesday to begin a state visit in honor of an invitation from President Emmanuel Macron. In a release by Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, the Nigerian leader's 3-day visit, which will focus on strengthening political, economic, and cultural relations and establishing more opportunities for partnership, particularly in agriculture, security, education, health, youth, engagement, and employment, innovation, and energy transition, promises significant benefits for Nigeria. President Tinubu and his wife, Oluremi Tinubu, will be received on Thursday at the 350-year-old French Military Museum by Macron and his spouse, Brigitte, for initial ceremonies that will dovetail into bilateral meetings. Let's move now to security matters. Vice President Kashim Shettima has directed the adoption of technology-driven strategies to combat terrorism, cybercrime, and border security challenges facing Nigeria and the entire African continent. Shettima said while Africa and Nigeria were currently navigating some of the most troubling times in areas such as security and economy, the challenges required innovative solutions. Speaking in Abuja when he received in audience members of Executive Intelligence Management Course 17 from the National Institute for Security Studies, Shettima acknowledged the current security and economic challenges in Nigeria. He stated that advancements in artificial intelligence presented significant opportunities for improvement in critical sectors of the economy. Well, let's tell you that pensioners under the contributory pension scheme are demanding the federal government release outstanding accrued gratuities from March 2023 to November 2024. They're also seeking payment of unpaid pension increments, including increases in 2007, 2010, and 2024. The pensioners are calling on the government to declare a state of emergency in the CPS sector and clear all liabilities before December 16, 2024. They've threatened to occupy the Federal Ministry of Finance and the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation in Abuja until their demands are met. The Pensioners Union leadership says they have the mandate of their members nationwide to take this action. The Nigeria Police Force has arrested 4 suspects for alleged criminal conspiracy, job racketeering, impersonation, forgery of official documents, and obtaining money under false pretense from unsuspecting victims. The police allege that these suspects are specialized in forging documents from the presidency, office of the national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, and other government agencies, and that their arrest was made possible following a tip-off about their fraudulent activities. Our correspondent Idong Joseph has more details in this story.
The four suspects, Josefa, Zachariah, Abdullahi, and Murufu, were apprehended following a report from the Office of the Special Assistant to the President and subsequent intelligence work conducted by the Special Investigation Unit of the Inspector General of Police. According to the police, the suspects were involved in forging certified documents from government agencies in an attempt to deceive victims and extort money under the pretense of securing employment.
The first and second suspects, Kuzaifa Tafida and Zachary Abdullahi, had forged a document resembling one emanating from the office of the National Chairman, All Progressive Congress, and another document with resemblance to one from the State House, Abuja. The deal then proceeded to present the document to the Office of the Inspector General of Police as recommendations in favor of 13 persons for Nigeria Police 2022 special recruitment.
The police say that during interrogation, the suspects confessed to their involvement in the crimes.
They admitted to forging documents from several government offices and individuals to defraud unsuspecting victims, promising them enlistment and jobs at various government agencies.
The suspects were later allowed to explain their roles in the scheme.
That's the only reason that I'm interested to join a commission.
So if you don't wear the uniform, at least you just want to be connected to us. Even if it's a civilian, as a civilian staff, you want to join the police. Have you written to the Ministry of Police Affairs before?
No, sir.
No. That person, before you carve any stamp or you make any stamp?
We used to find out, sir.
Okay, so what did you find out about this people that came to me?
This particular stamp is that these people that came to me, it's Zefa that came to me, but particularly it's not me that I told the stamp, sir.
So what are you do?
Abia State Governor Alex Otti says it cost the sum of 750 million naira to reconstruct a 1.3-kilometer road in Ndume community. The governor, during the commissioning, said the cost of reconstruction was reduced because government deployed direct labor in handling the project. Also, the governor commissioned the renovated worker secretariat in Umuahia. Some members of the community are happy that the road will now serve motorists and other road users effectively.
Dr. Alex Otti.
We are not going backwards anymore. On every side, Abia is moving forward. And God bless His Excellency.
Thank you. Leader of leaders, a man who has the
Our target is to progressively change the face of the capital city from what it was prior to May last year to a major urban location that appeals to the large number of civil servants that we have and many other economic actors who will be coming in to take advantage of the expanding social infrastructure to set up their businesses and make the most of the abundant natural and material resources in the capital and in the neighboring towns.
Highly excited, highly elated about the concession work done today and the commissioning, because for the past, this one has been abandoned by previous governments. Now we can see that the serious job has been done. Even in the night we have the working into this place. I think we are somewhere in the city. So it's a plus.
Welcome back. Namibia's vice president was among the first to vote in Wednesday's election, which could make her the country's first female leader. This comes as a ruling SWAPO party faces a strong challenge to its 34-year-old on power. Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah, the 72-year-old veteran of the Southwest African People's Organization, cast a ballot in the capital Windhoek as polls open at 7 a.m. Following a vote, she encouraged the public to vote before polls close at 9 p.m., emphasizing that the outcome would affect both citizens and visitors. SWAPO has governed Namibia since its independence in 1990. But with ongoing issues such as high unemployment and persistent inequalities, Nandi-Ndaitwah may face a second round runoff, if she doesn't secure at least half the vote. Well, let's head now to South Africa. The Red Berets paint Joburg red as they call for the arrest of President Cyril Ramaphosa. Hundreds of economic freedom fighters, EFF members, took to the streets of the Joburg CBD on Tuesday to march against the Phala report. This follows as the Constitutional Court hears the party's application against the Speaker of the National Assembly over the Section 89 panel report regarding the Phala Farmgate scandal. The EFF wants the courts to set aside Parliament's decision in December 2022 not to adopt a Section 89 panel report that found prima facie evidence.
Every president must be held responsible. Every president must be accountable. We did the same thing with Jacob Zuma. When he spent money on Gandla, we took him to Constitutional Court and they said he must pay back the money. The same thing must happen to Ramaphosa because we are all the subjects of the Constitution. No one is above the Constitution. So we are here to hold the executive accountable. That's what we do as the opposition party. Our job is to hold the executive accountable.
Stilfontein community in Northwest Province in South Africa is demanding that government begins rescue operations at an abandoned mine where hundreds of illegal miners are still trapped underground. Over the past several weeks, the miners have been locked in a standoff with police who surrounded the entrance to the mine shaft and blocked off their food supplies in an attempt. According to the Northwest Community Safety and Transport Management MEC Vessels Movang, the trapped miners sent another letter saying they are starving. News Central's Bongani Siziba tells us more.
For weeks now, the community of Stilfontein has been in a state of anguish. Trapped beneath the earth are hundreds of miners who are clinging to hope while the world above them is mired in a political tug of war.
No, we are very devastated. We are in pain as a community. Because whatever we've tried to do to assist the people, but up to so far, after our operation was stopped by the police, but now we are just amazed. Up to so far, none of the people, they've resurfaced or they've assisted up to so far. But whatever we're doing, as risky, as dangerous as it was, but we managed to resurface people, we managed to save lives as the concerned community members.
The government had promised the rescue effort would begin on Monday, but everyone is puzzled. What happened? It's yet another passing day with no action, no food, no water for their loved ones.
The process of rescuing them, it's taking forever. And we are starting to question whether is it a delaying tactic or is it that it's a unresponsive government. That's the situation right now at the ground, and we are anticipating their speedy recovery.
It has been an agonizing wait. As the clock ticks, the families above are left to grapple with uncertainty. The government's repeated delays have left the community feeling abandoned and betrayed.
Ke batla thuso mo government thuso ya ke batla bana ba ka batla ba tswe mo mgoding oro setumbu sa bone se tsuki khono go se fitla ke tsebe re bana ba ka ke ba lahlela mo.
I got involved because I wanted my brother back, and in that moment I had hope. Now I'm getting to lose a hope again because they said that the system that we were using is very slow and very dangerous, but there's the safe one and the fastest one. It seems like it has not started. We are going to a second week now. They haven't saved anyone.
Even As some miners have surfaced, many remained trapped in the dark. Families cling desperately to the hope that they will be rescued. But officials have stalled their efforts, caught in a battle between the police and human rights organizations.
The idea that I'm going to be here trying to say that I'm praying for somebody's life is just absolute hogwash. I'm offended by that. These are people, by the way, that came in a struggle, right? That were elevated to power by the struggle for human dignity, for human equality, for justice. This and the attitude that they've taken in this matter is worthy of the ministers of an apartheid regime, and certainly not representative of democratically elected black majority government that should know better where we come from.
It's all anger and frustrations. However, in the face of such despair, the resolve of the community deepens. They stand together for the miners trapped below, refusing to forget and unwilling to abandon hope. They demand accountability and action, not hollow promises. In Stilfontein, Northwest Province in South Africa, for News Central, Wongani Siziba.
Welcome back. A ceasefire between Israel and Hezbollah in Lebanon has taken effect on Wednesday after over a year of war that has claimed thousands of lives. Following this, residents have been seen slowly returning to the southern suburbs of Beirut. The ceasefire, which took effect at 4 a.m., is expected to bring an end to the ravaging war, which has displaced hundreds of thousands of people in Lebanon after they were forced to leave their homes. The war began when Hezbollah launched cross-border attacks in support of its Palestinian ally Hamas after its October 7, 2023 assault on Israel. On Tuesday, U.S. President Joe Biden announced a ceasefire agreement, while Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu confirmed that his ministers had agreed to the hold.
عايشين برعب أكتر ما تتصور والحمد لله يعني اللي صار الله يرحم الشهداء والله يرجع الناس كلها على بيوتها رجع الضيعة بلطف الله والله اللي يشفع علينا بس إن شاء الله نكون تعلمنا من هالحياة ومن هالحرب.
Meanwhile, French President Emmanuel Macron has called for the end of the war in Gaza, suggesting that the ceasefire between Israel and Lebanon should open the path for ending that in Gaza. He said this in a video posted on X, adding that it shows that only political courage can provide long-term peace and stability in the Middle East. He also said that the restoration of Lebanon's sovereignty requires the immediate election of a president of the Republic.
Cet accord doit là aussi ouvrir la voie à un cessez-le-feu trop longtemps attendu face aux souffrances sans commune mesure de la population de Gaza. La restauration de la souveraineté du Liban passe par l'élection sans délai d'un président de la République, capable de rassembler les Libanais par la formation aussi d'un gouvernement fort et représentatif, et par l'adoption des réformes nécessaires au redressement économique et financier du pays. Oui, l'accord qui vient d'être signé montre la voie d'un courage politique qui seul peut donner à tous au Moyen-Orient la paix et la sécurité dans la durée.
Let's now join our business desk for this morning's business update.
President Bola Tinubu has reaffirmed the commitment of his administration to positioning the nation's creative sector as key driver of Nigeria's global influence. Tinubu, represented by the Vice President Kashim Shettima, stated this during the launch of the 2024 Abuja International Carnival at the Eagle Square. The president identified the creative economy as a cornerstone of his administration's economic diversification agenda, noting that it is already contributing significantly to the nation's gross domestic product. He reaffirmed the carnival's role in strengthening Nigeria's position in the global creative economy. Meanwhile, Nigeria has made significant strides in its fight against money laundering and terrorism financing by securing upgrades on 5 recommendations set forth by the Financial Action Task Force. This development moves the nation closer to exiting the grey list that has cast a shadow over its financial reputation since February 2023. The upgrades were acknowledged during the 42nd Giaba Technical Commission and Plenary meeting in Freetown, Sierra Leone, where Nigeria's third follow-up report was reviewed, showing the country's advancement in addressing technical compliance issues identified during its 2021 anti-money laundering and counter-terrorism financing mutual evaluation. A statement from the Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit on Sunday disclosed that, as it stands, Nigeria is now compliant or largely compliant in 37 out of the 40 FATF recommendations. Finally, Dogecoin, the meme coin, surged by 5% following an Elon Musk tweet hinting that the meme coin could play an active role in the anticipated X payment service. The leading meme coin has a long history of reacting to Elon Musk's tweets and statements due to the history between both parties. Dogecoin surged in price after Elon Musk posted a screenshot of popular podcaster Joe Rogan on November 22. The screenshot contained a dollar icon that is quite different from the app's tipping service. The dollar icon features sparked speculation, with one user noted in an X post speculating that it might be for sending money as part of X payments. And that's all on business news. I am Lekon Onobanjo.
In sports, Abia Angels defeated Bayelsa Queens 4-3 on penalties to set up a 2024 Shiro's Cup final clash with Remo Stars ladies in the 2024 Shiro's Cup. After a goalless draw in regulation time, the match was decided on a penalty shootout, with Abia Angels emerging victorious. Forward Kindness Ihianyi was named player of the match for her performance in the second semi-final. Rebel Stars ladies edged Niger Rattles 5-4 on penalties in the first semi-final. Feromi Odutade gave Niger Rattles an early lead in the 20th minute, but Cynthia Mega equalized for Remo in the 60th minute. The third-place match between Niger Rattles and Bayelsa Queens is scheduled for 1 p.m., with a final at 3 p.m. on Friday at the FIFA Goal Project. Let's move on now to cricket. Nigeria's senior men's cricket team, the Yellow Greens, secured their third consecutive win at the 2026 ICC World Cup Africa Sub-Regional Qualifier C, defeating Eswatini by 5 wickets in Abuja on Tuesday. Eswatini, who batted first, posted 137 runs for 7 wickets in 20 overs. Captain Adil Butt starred with 88 not out, but Nigerian bowlers Isaac Danladi and Ridwan Abdul Karim claimed 3 wickets each to limit the total. Despite a shaky chase, Nigeria reached 138 runs for 5 wickets in 15 overs. The win solidified their top position with 6 points, keeping them in contention for a final phase qualifier spot. Botswana remained close behind after a 10-wicket win over Ivory Coast, while Sierra Leone beat St. Helena to stay in the race. Let's quickly talk about football now. Egyptian clubs dominated Tuesday's opening round of the CAF Champions League group stages, with Al Ahly and Pyramids claiming emphatic victories. Defending champions Al Ahly began their title defense with a 4-2 win over Stade d'Abidjan at the Cairo International Stadium. Mahmoud Karaba starred with a brace, while Mohamed Magdi and Hussein El Shahart also scored. Pyramids secured a commanding 5-1 victory against Sagrada Esperanza in Group D, showcasing their firepower at the 30 June Stadium. Meanwhile, Orlando Pirates edged CR Belouizdad 2-1 thanks to Mohaul Nkota's brace. Elsewhere, Mamelodi Sundowns were held to a goalless draw by Manama Union, while Esperance crushed Joliba 4-0, and AS FAR stunned Raja Casablanca 1-0. Inter Milan secured their 4th consecutive UEFA Champions League victory with a hard-fought 1-0 win against RB Leipzig, who remained winless in the group stage. The Nerazzurri took the lead in the 27th minute when Leipzig defender Castillo Luqueba deflected Federico De Marco's free kick into his net. Inter came close to extending their lead with Lautaro Martinez and Marcus Thuram missing key chances, while Akan Kalanglu tested Leipzig's goalkeeper Peter Gulassi with a powerful strike. Denzel Dumfries also squandered a golden opportunity early in the second half. Leipzig pushed hard for an equalizer late in the match, but were thwarted by Inter's resolute defense. The win puts Inter at the top of the group with 13 points, while Leipzig languishes in the last place. Also staying with the Champions League, Robert Lewandowski reached a historic milestone, becoming the third player to score 100 Champions League goals as Barcelona cruised to a 3-0 win over Brest. The 36-year-old, in the 10th minute from the penalty spot, opened the scoring after a foul by Brest's goalkeeper Marco Bizot. Dani Olmo doubled the lead with a composed finish, scoring his first Champions League goal after a superb first touch. Lewandowski sealed the victory with his second goal of the night, slotted into the bottom corner for the 101st in the competition. Barcelona controlled the game with 77% possession, limiting Brest to no shots on target. The win moves Barcelona to second in the league phase table, while Brest dropped to 8th. And that's all we have for you on the news this hour. But before we go, let's take another look at some of the major stories. Yahaya Bello to appear in court today after arrests by the EFCC. Retirees set to occupy Finance Ministry over unpaid pensions. We also told you about the economic freedom fighters as they call for the arrest of South Africa's president over Phala Phala scandal. Well, you can watch News Central every day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on the following platforms right there on the screen. And don't forget to also stream live on YouTube as well as on Facebook. I'm Joe Hansen, urging you to stay with us. We do have Jasiri starting off pretty soon and many more programs coming your way. Until then, do have a wonderful morning.